Welcome to the Faithful Fathering Podcast. This is Robert and Jason, again filling in for Rick Wirtz as he is out in the Colorado mountains on the high country adventure. And speaking of that, last episode we talked about the different trips and events that happen throughout the year at Faithful Fathering. This episode is going to be geared towards the Faithful Fathering Studies, which is a huge part of what the ministry does. There's several different studies, several different ways for dads to be involved locally that don't involve the trips. I love talking about these because these are opportunities where men can really grow in various ways. These studies are opportunities for us to grow as godly men, as husbands, and as fathers, obviously. I had the pleasure of, and it was, I don't want to say by mistake, but it was, I kind of had to fill in leading one of these studies for someone that couldn't make it. And I was telling Rick, I was like, Rick, I don't know if you planned it this way on purpose, but I was probably impacted in a positive way more than the guys that I was teaching because, I don't know about you and I don't know about most other men, and maybe just people in general. But I tend to, if I'm in a study, yes, I pay attention. Maybe not 100% of the time, right? My thoughts may go off into other places and I have to lock back in. But when you're leading a study, it's a big responsibility and you have to prepare ahead of time and you have to make sure that you're understanding the material. And I don't say that in a way that the studies are very easy to lead because they're video based but I did want to read it and understand it because I would think that, men may have questions or just to be a good steward of that material. And so as I was doing that studying and that reading and preparing to lead the study, I was being convicted. I was being convicted about many different things, different idols in my life, different areas where I thought maybe I was honoring God and doing the right thing, or that maybe started in a way where I was honoring God, and then I just drifted off into idolatry. And I'll call it what it is. A portion of my life I realized had become idolatry. And if it wasn't for me leading that study, I don't know how much longer it would have taken for me to realize that. So these studies are very near and dear to my heart because I see the value in them, and I see how men's lives and their lineage, their legacy can be changed from a simple study. So that's a little bit about my experience. I wasn't even going to share that, but I figured it was a good opportunity. But let's get into the studies a little bit. There's several different studies that men can partake in. They could either lead, but we'll get into that. The first study is Dads Becoming Heroes.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that study?
Sure. A lot of times the first influence that a child has is their dad.
Right.
Is their earthly dad, before even they have necessarily a relationship with God or anything like that. Their earthly dad has the most influence over a child. Even when a child doesn't have a present father, they still think about that father. They dwell on that father. They wonder, what they can learn from that father, right? Whether it's a good or bad influence. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be bad, but we push, and encourage the good, right? That's why we're here. One thing I do want to emphasize through these studies is, as I was having a conversation with Rick and Robert, our job is to encourage and equip the dads.
Absolutely.
Dads are beat up enough, and we beat ourselves up. So we want the studies to convict you to good, to encourage you to good, to say, you know what, I used, kind of like how you shared, Robert, I used to be in this place, but now I'm in this place because of the word of God, and the conviction of the study has encouraged me to a new light and level. So the Dads Becoming Heroes is kind of like a good introduction type study. We encourage you to start with that one. The reason why, because it talks about things like consistency, being consistent in your child's life, which goes speaks to physical presence. And it also talks, one critical point, one of my favorite points of that study is nurturing. See, typically as a man, we don't talk about nurturing enough. We leave that to the mom, right?
Yeah, well, that's
Right.
that's the mom side, right?
Yeah, that's
Nurturing,
her
we kind of
job,
think
right?
of that's the mom
Yeah.
portion of it, but there is a
Yes.
fatherly nurturing angle that
Right.
we don't think about.
No, it's like put your arm around your son or your daughter. You know what? I love you,
Right,
and embrace them.
right,
It's different. It's not comparison. It's different than a mother's
right.
embrace, because it's it's a command presence. It's something that God gave us,
Amen.
to instill that blessing. So yeah, I think that's critical.
So the Dads Becoming Heroes study, how long is that study?
In 5 weeks.
That's a
So
5-week
5-week study. The reason why we made them shorter too, and Rick wrote this curriculum, because we know that is doable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Typically
It's not a heavy.
a commitment, and most guys can get through that.
So I'm a dad.
Mm-hmm.
I see, hypothetically speaking here, right? I'm a dad. I'm watching this.
Mm-hmm.
I realize, you know what? That's something that interests me. Like,
Okay.
I want to be a better father.
Right.
What's my next step?
Sure. So what's cool about these studies are, Robert, the way that they're designed, there's video driven. So Rick has already created the video versions where you can watch it together in the group. And then there's already predetermined study questions in the study. So you go over the questions, you break up into small group, and then you can go even deeper with it and say, hey, Robert, you're a dad, I'm a dad. Let's become, buddies.
Let's
fathers.
do this together.
Yeah, let's do this together. Then we can get in deeper discussion and really learn how to be better fathers.
So as a dad, let's say I'm a dad. I go to church on Sundays.
Right.
I could start this in my own church.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. So what we do, what's really cool is you can do this as a church group. You can
Okay.
get guys in the church. We have several churches working these type of studies now already, and they'll meet for the 5 weeks. Some churches meet 5 weeks in a row and do it. Some churches meet 5 months in a row and just do one study a month.
Okay.
So whatever works for your church and your ministry, and then eventually that leads to further discussion, that leads to community, that leads to starting a core group, which we'll talk about more later, a core group of dads in your church.
Okay. So this is not necessarily a program that the church has to start. It's led by dads, by regular,
yes.
average dads, right? Let's just say you and I
Mhm.
go. We don't even have to go to church together. I would think, right? We're friends, and
Friends,
I
you
come
wanna
to you, hey
start-
Jason, what do you think about? I want to become a better dad. You want to become a better dad. Let's go
Exactly.
through this study, and then we may invite another couple of guys. And
Yes.
the next thing you know, there's a group of 5, 8, 10 dads joining us in this.
So I love how you mentioned that, Robert, and to let everybody know, the way it's designed, even on our website, faithfulfather.org, you can click on For Dads page or for churches.
That's right.
So what
Yes,
you're saying
yes.
is so true. So let's say you got a group of guys in a church, you want to start a study, or you just got a group of guys, that are dads, and then 4 dads, and the material is for both.
So what I'm sensing here is a call for the average dad,
Mm-hmm.
and it may take stepping out of our comfort zone a little
Yeah.
bit, right?
Right.
But for the average dad to step up and say, let me look into this. Let me see what this is all
Mhm.
about. Let me see if it's something that I think me and a buddy or 2 or 3
Right.
want to partake in. And I know once you start seeing the material and realizing, because we don't know what we don't know.
Correct.
I was not raised in the church. I don't know. There were a lot of things that I didn't know growing up that I know now. And, as they've talked about in previous podcasts, it's the older and younger generations can benefit from one another.
That's right.
And me not knowing certain things, I can look to men like Rick
Mhm.
that have more experience, that have been fathers through the season of fathering, which is something else that we can talk about, the seasons of fathering.
Yes.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But to look for him for guidance and experience and wisdom, that obviously biblical wisdom, godly wisdom that I may not know. And that's what these studies are designed to do. And I love what you said. They're very easy to follow. They're video based with a handbook and with questions.
That's right.
So it's and what is there a cost for ministries or
here's
men
the
to-
beautiful thing, y'all. That's such a blessing. Faithful Fathering has been the type of ministry where men that have been touched by God in churches have given in organizations to the fact that we can offer these for free.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's
And even if you need books, the cool thing is you can go on your website and you can download it at faithfulfathering.org. Yep, PDF for free. But also if you're like, hey guys, hey Robert and Jason, I like the tangible book, we can get you those too. No problem.
Wow, that's great. So that's the first, you called it an intro type study, right? Dads Becoming
Yes.
Heroes. A couple of guys want to get together, do this, whether in a church setting or just as a group of dads. That's the intro study. Dad's Armor is another study.
Correct.
Right? Is this also, what is the length of this one? 5 weeks as well?
This one is 4 weeks.
4 to 5. Okay, 4 weeks as well. A Dad's Armor
They're
is
all 4 to 5.
4 to 5 weeks. And tell us a little bit about a Dad's Armor.
Oh my goodness. The Dad's Armor is really cool based on the book of Ephesians.
Okay.
Yeah, you talk about the armor of God. Man, we live in a world where men, fathers, dads are getting attacked so much daily, even with the social media and the phones. And this teaching, this study can help equip you as a dad, as a father, to reject what the enemy is trying to bring. And it's a beautiful thing because it's based on the book of Ephesians, but also brings some good practical advice to go against the enemy's attack in your life as a dad and a father.
And you bring up a touchy subject, but a subject that definitely needs to be talked about. As we talk about the attacks of the enemy and stuff that as men, a lot of men struggle with, statistically speaking.
Right.
And for lack of a better word, we'll call it the P word. Is a very dangerous thing in not just in society, but within the church.
Yes.
And it's important, men, for us to do our part to try to seek the Lord and breaking free from that, because you're not alone, men. And it's something that men don't like to talk about sometimes, and I get it.
True.
I understand why. It's something that we don't talk about openly.
That's right.
But it is, I don't remember the exact statistic. And Rick has talked about it in previous episodes, but I want to say at least 2/3 of men in the church have some sort of exposure to that kind of stuff. So, men, our encouragement is to seek out a way to break free from that. There is victory in that. It is work, but it's work that is very worth it, especially for your family, for your bride, for your children. And that's part of that Dad's Armor, right? Is being equipped.
Yes.
And there's so many tools out there to be equipped. But yeah, that's Dad's Armor is actually the study that I was leading that really got me thinking about things that I was prioritizing and things that I had to let go of in order. Rick's pet peeve word is the word balance.
Oh, yes.
You've heard him say that. I would think that I could balance everything. I've got a lot of things on my plate and just try to balance it all, make sure nothing falls. And Rick would always say, Robert, that word is a pet peeve of mine. And for a while, I didn't really understand it. I really didn't get it. But the way this study made me realize is I've only got 24 hours in the day.
Right.
If I'm trying to balance a bunch of things in that day, something or someone or some people, my family, are not getting prioritized.
That's right.
So it forced me to realize that there were some things in my life that I just needed to cut out that were just consuming time,
right?
Because I was trying to balance them. But it wasn't until I prioritized them, I said, okay, this is most important. Then comes this, then this, then this, then this. I realized there's not enough time for this other stuff.
No,
it's got to go.
Right.
And it was the Dad's Armor study that helped me realize that. So, man, once again, encourage you, get involved in these studies because it'll make you think about things. I think most men want to be great dads.
Absolutely.
We just don't know how.
Yeah, we just don't know how.
And the beauty of it is these are programs already done, already put together, videos already produced, booklets ready for you to download, questions ready to be answered, where you don't have to do the heavy work. You just got to consume, think, and most importantly, apply.
Absolutely.
We have to apply what we learned. So Dad's Armor, very special place in my heart. And this is recent. This is within the past 6 to 8 months in my life.
Wow.
You know, and I'm a 51-year-old dad of 3 kids. So dads, it's never too late to get involved. Next study on the docket is the Nehemiah Initiative. I have not had a chance to partake in that. Can you tell us a little bit about the Nehemiah?
So this is based on the book of Nehemiah. The most critical thing to mention here, the most important, is the men that put up walls. And
that's a lot of us.
Yes, absolutely, including myself. I've put up walls all my life and learned that God wants to break through that. And the Nehemiah Initiative is talking about the walls that men put up, but then also how can we get free from that? How can we be broken? It's a beautiful study, very highly encouragement, and it really allows you to be equipped to break down those walls in life.
And again, I'm reminded of in Rick's testimony, he'll talk about, Pastor, I only read man-sized books.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming this is another man-sized study,
yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
4 to 5 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep,
4 to 5
right.
weeks. And I love that he takes, Rick has taken all of that into consideration.
Yes.
You know, because it's very easy with the content. I'm sure it could be a 12-week study or a 6-month study.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think 4 to 5 weeks is a sweet spot.
It is.
You're just enough to get in there, learn, and apply. These are all opportunities for men to build community, for men to be there for one another, which as men can be difficult, but it's very rewarding. I'm part of an online Zoom Bible study where we used to meet in person. My former church was doing this study for, I want to say they're going on 20 years.
Oh, wow.
They would meet on Saturday mornings at a restaurant in person. COVID came and we took it to Zoom.
Okay.
We started meeting on Zoom, and we've been meeting on Zoom every Saturday morning since. But what you see there is men that have been there week after week after week after week. And, we get busy and sometimes we miss a week or two, but the brotherhood, the community that is built there is incredible. And there are opportunities where you can trust these men. And that's what we as men need. And that's where these studies, men, if you take the initiative to start a study on your own, reach out to a couple of dads, you guys will be more equipped to fight this fathering fight together.
That's right.
As a group, because I may be going through something that Jason has already been through,
that's right,
or vice versa, and we can be there for one another.
Yes, sir.
So other resources for dads. I know there's other things in the works. I know there's a couple of books, right? Devotions for Dads. Tell us a little bit about that.
So that's really cool. This Devotions for Dads book that is available on the website as well is really cool because it allows you that regular rhythm of meeting with your child, whether it be daily, weekly, monthly, however you want to do it, or however you have time for it. But they're already created devotions based on the Word of God and has application stories. It's a beautiful thing. I've used it with my children, and it's very fruitful.
And then the other one, which is I think this is for me, was the most eye-opening, the Seasons of Fathering book.
Oh man, this is a great resource, because what it means is, when you talk about seasons of fathering, what we mean by that is, a lot of you watching, you have children in different stages.
Right.
You might have a 1-month-old, you might have a 1-year-old, you might have a 10-year-old, you might have a 25-year-old. Whatever ages, this book addresses the different seasons that you're in. So if, for example, if I have a teenager, I'm going to be more of a counselor,
Coach.
A coach.
Yeah.
Thanks for correcting me. More of a coach. If I have a 5-year-old, I'm going to be more of a teacher.
Right.
Because I'm teaching them certain things that they've never learned before. So like, I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to keep it real. My teenage seasons coaching them kids are very hard. I have 2 teenagers and they're like, they know everything,
Oh man, I'm right there with you. With a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that I'm right there with you. That's
all
I'll say.
And and I do have 2 in their early 20s. And, the counselor, and Rick is like, he gave me this wisdom. He drops it in there. You got to wait by the phone, because you're not always going to get that call. You're going to call them. Sometimes they might not respond. They might be busy. Today's life, they work and they're trying to figure it out. But a lot of times you're waiting on them to contact you because they're busy. They're trying to figure life out. So sometimes you just have to be more patient with them. And if they do ask for advice, you can give it. But if they don't ask for advice, don't give it. If you want a good relationship with your kid, your adult child, just please be grateful if they call and say, "Oh, nice to talk to you."
Right. So that's a book, Seasons of Fathering. Yes. Right.
Correct.
Again, the Seasons of Fathering are approximately from birth to 10 years old. You're a teacher, right?
Yes.
Approximately from 10 to 20 years old, you're a coach.
You're a coach.
Right? And then over 20, you're more of a counselor. And that was eye-opening to me. Because, as a dad, I would have probably remained in teacher season until my son was into his 40s, probably. Right. You know what I mean? I would have never thought about it.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Just the other day, last night, we were at church and my son comes up to me and he's like, "Dad, after church, can I go to Chick-fil-A with some of the guys from church?" And I'm talking to somebody, but I'm kind of freaking out and turning. I'm like, "Wait, man, you're just 14. You're just trying to take off with somebody." And part of me was like, "You just gotta give them a little bit of little bit of freedom.
A little bit of freedom.
It's 10 minutes away.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And Mom and I were talking about it and we're like, this isn't easy.
Right.
But now we've taught him what he needs to know.
Yeah.
Of course, we still teach, but it's just the majority of what we do is now coach. We teach in a coaching way.
I got you.
But we had to realize that, okay, we've taught him. He knows right. He knows wrong.
Correct.
He may make some choices that'll bump and bruise him a little bit, and Lord willing, it's nothing serious. But we went over there. He went with his friends to Chick-fil-A. I took off after about 10 minutes after him, 10, 15 minutes after him, just to be in the area, and it was fulfilling to see him on his own, because I was there, just kind of
just leaving the nest,
leaving the nest
a little bit.
But it's fulfilling. It's rewarding to see that the work we've put in as godly teachers and as godly coaches, you start seeing it play out.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things as faithful fathers that we need to remember is that all of this, and I tell my son this all the time, son, my prayer for you is for you to be a godly man. Everything else I don't know. We don't know what, we can't control a lot of other things, but what we can control is our commitment and our faithfulness to the Lord. And I have to lead by example,
exactly
right?
right.
It's one of the tenets of faithful fathering, leading spiritually by example.
Absolutely.
And as part of coaching them, I remind them that I don't always get it right.
Right.
That I make mistakes. And that kind of stings sometimes when we do make those mistakes. We have to own it. And,
Absolutely.
But we're going on a whole other tangent. We'll wrap up with that. You know, the different fathering studies. Again, Dads Becoming Heroes is a group study. Dad's Armor, another group study. The Nehemiah Initiative is another group study. And then there's also the Devotions for Dads book and a Seasons of Fathering book. You can find more information about all of these on the website, faithfulfathering.org. Our next episode, check in with us because it is going to be on local church groups. I know we talked about it a little bit on this episode. We're going to talk more about it on the next one. Thank you very much for tuning in. Love to have you in the comments. Love to see what questions you may have. Let us know. Thank you very much.